Recently, I've been chatting to a couple of my clients about the state of content at the minute, whether all the post-content daily advice is still relevant. So in this video, I'm basically going to tell you what we spoke about and the ideas we came up with, because I think there's genuinely a lot of people out there who would benefit from the conversation that we had. Now, the framework that I use has 5 clear steps: traffic, capture, nurture, sell, scale. If you want to understand how the whole system works, I'll leave a link for that video in the description for you to go and watch after this one. But for this video, I really want to focus on how we drive traffic, because it's obviously the first bottleneck that most people hit when they're trying to get clients consistently. Now, there's so many different ways to drive traffic to your email list. So together, let's figure out which ways to drive traffic is best for you. By the way, I've just written a 30-day email sequence, which has 30 days of really useful business tips that I wish someone had told me when I first started out. You can sign up for that in the link in the description, but for now, let's get on with the video. Now, pretty much every way we drive traffic sits along this graph here. On this side, we got time/effort, and on this side we got cost. Now, the first way a lot of people go to drive traffic to their lead magnet or to their business is through paid ads. Now, paid ads tend to be low in time and effort, but they can be costly to run. Now, the appeal of paid ads is that once you set it up, they require minimal ongoing input from your time and effort, but you're also paying for that convenience. And the moment you stop paying for it, the results stop as well. And whilst paid ads are good for driving traffic and you can set it up to target different things, in my opinion, paid ads are better suited for people who have a warm audience already, who want to retarget them in order to sell their service, mentorship, or course. Now, another interesting way we can drive traffic is SEO and blogging. Now, obviously, this has a minimal cost. You might pay for a website or some sort of software in order to run the blog. And then obviously writing the blogs are free, but they do require a lot of effort. It also takes time to get good at blogging. If you're not good at writing already, and this is the channel you want to go down, it's going to take quite a few months to start writing blogs that people actually want to read. You keep them hooked and you get people to spend time with you through your blog. Now, obviously, once the results do start coming, it's a very durable and consistent way to get leads and clients for your business. But there's obviously a big time investment up front in order to get it going. Now, the next way to drive traffic is cold outreach. Obviously, all you need for cold outreach is some sort of social network like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. But obviously, there is a big time investment in it. Now, obviously, it's controllable. And so once you find a formula that really works for you and gets people to reply and get invested in what you have to say, you can actually get results from cold outreach quite quickly, despite what a lot of people might say. But the only problem is it doesn't scale easily at all. Obviously, it's being done manually. Once you get it going, you get some clients, maybe you can start outsourcing it to some sort of team. But in my opinion, it's better to just move on to other channels once you've got some clients coming through the door. I also think cold outreach, when paired with content, which we'll get to in a second, significantly helps with cold outreach, because people can look you up and find out you're not just a stranger, you know what you're talking about. Now, another interesting one that I think people overlook sometimes is things like events, partnerships, collabs. And a lot of the time, these don't cost very much, but they do take a little bit of effort to set up. Now, obviously, getting in front of someone else's audience who's got a bigger audience than you is a great way to drive traffic to your own thing, especially with a warm audience of people who are probably already interested in the stuff that you're going to do. And once you've built a relationship with someone who you can collab with and partner with, the time and effort required is pretty minimal. And a lot of the time, the trust between that audience and you transfers quite quickly. And so it is a great way to generate leads quickly and to warm them up. The only caveat is obviously that you have to have good relationships and relationships with people in your niche with a bigger audience than you, which for a lot of you might be quite hard to find. Now, another way you can drive traffic, which in my opinion is going to make a massive comeback in the next couple of years, is physical/guerrilla marketing. I'm talking things like flyering, pop-ups, local events. Now, obviously, yes, these can have costs, but I think if you do it correctly, these can have really minimal costs. All it means is you just have to invest a bit of time. Now, the reason I think physical and guerrilla marketing is going to make a real comeback is because digital marketing, whilst it's highly effective and targeted, people are getting so used to the overproduced ads, content, and everything online that's so overly produced. Whereas with physical marketing, yes, you lose that aspect of targeting and perhaps reach that you get online, but ultimately you trade that to build real connections with people. I remember once when I was at uni, one of the easiest ways to market club events, everybody just used flyering. One, because they were so cheap to manufacture. I think we could get like over 1,000 flyers for like 50 quid. But also, we'd literally just plaster it all over. So our event was getting seen by basically everyone at the university. That's like 70,000 people 2 or 3 times a day. And it was a great way to get people to know about what we had to offer. Yes, it was hard to track. And ultimately, not everyone who saw it was probably interested in what we were doing. But because we hit so many people, there were some people in there who were interested in our event. And so my recommendation would be going to all the local businesses in your area and just ask them if you can leave flyers about. And I'm sure you get 1 or 2 people coming in consistently from that. And now I want to get onto content. Now, short form content is great for driving traffic. So because it takes less time and effort, long form, and you can do it once a day, you can get in front of people more consistently over time. And also with the new short form algorithms that we're seeing, it's easier and more now than ever to get discovered and to get the reach to find new people who are going to be interested. The only problem, in my opinion, with short form content is that it's becoming harder and harder to really build that connection, especially considering you only often have 30 seconds to a minute to build a connection with someone. That's why often we see it takes 6 to 12 months to really start building a successful platform. And the last one I want to talk about is long form content. Now, obviously, long form content does take a lot more time and effort to produce compared to short form content. But obviously, it doesn't cost much to make. Can do once you get further down the line and you want to start investing into new stuff. But ultimately, the production, me sitting here in front of the camera, doesn't cost anything. So there's a ton of different ways you can drive traffic to your lead magnets into your business. Now, all of these work, and the graph shows you the trade-offs for each one. If I'm going to be honest, if I had to point you towards one channel that you had to stick to drive traffic to your business above everything else on that graph, I would tell you to start producing long form content. And here's why. There was a study a couple months ago done by YouTube which showed that to convert a stranger into a paying client, you typically need about 7 hours of contact time. Now, short form content gets you about 30 seconds. Cold outreach gives you about a 2-minute read if you're lucky. But a YouTube video gets you 10 to 20 minutes of contact time with that person. And so the people who reach out to you from there are often already invested when you compare it to short form content and cold outreach. Now, obviously, long form sits on the high effort, low cost on the graph. And obviously it takes time to produce. I'm not denying that. But this is the thing I love about long form content. The assets you post to YouTube work for you long after you've finished producing that piece of content. So even a video that you made 6 to 12 months ago can still be pulling people onto your email list today. No other channel on this chart does that as effectively as YouTube. But I think it gets even better. And I think this is one thing that a lot of people have been sleeping on, and it's live streaming. If we look back at the graph, long form is high effort and low cost. But live streaming flips the effort axis completely. There's no editing involved, no scripting, no post-production. You might go in with a rough structure of what you're going to talk about on the live stream, but ultimately you just set it up and you show up. It's low effort and low cost. And yeah, I'd probably say it builds more trust than anything else on the little graph that we just drew, because it's raw, it's unedited, and people are seeing you in real time. And I think that does something to the way people view you and build a connection with you that edited and produced content doesn't. I think there was a story a couple years ago from Socceray, which is like a big charity football match in the UK. The celebrities walked out initially and there was obviously a big cheer. Most people in the crowd knew who they were. Then the YouTubers came out and there was an even bigger cheer for them. And then after all of that, the streamers came out one by one. And apparently the place just went mental because the people with the best connections weren't the most famous people. Those streamers were the people who had showed themselves completely uncut for longer and more consistently. You can't manufacture that level of authenticity in a 15-second clip or some sort of TV production. So if I were to tell you what channels you should do right now, I would tell you do long form to build a foundation and then live stream to build a deep connection with your audience. Those are the two I would use going forward. Just find the ones you enjoy and stick with them for at least 6 months. And if you pick content, I promise you it compounds just like money does. Warren Buffett's whole thing is never interrupt the compounding effect or something like that. The same rule applies here. In the description, I've got a 30 ways in 30 days email sequence, which can give you 30 ways to improve your business and to generate leads and sales more consistently for your business. And the link for that's down in the description. Now, once you've figured out which channels you're going to run with long term, the next problem you have is where to send people. If that's a problem you have, you're going to want to watch this video here.